Welcome to the channel, guys. Make sure to hit that notification bell because every Wednesday at 9 o'clock we're uploading a new video. If you're new to the channel, make sure to subscribe, and if you're an OG subscriber, make sure to share it with all your friends. Help spread the word. What's up, creators? It's your boy, Mad Mike. On today's episode, we got a lot of stuff to assemble on the Pontiac Fiero Ferrari KitCar, like the chassis mount wing, we got the rear diffuser, we got the rear grille, taillights, headlights, and a whole bunch of other goodies. So you're gonna wanna stay tuned and check it out.
If you can see it in your mind, you can hold it in your hand. Ha! Dare to be you. This world is just a canvas to our imagination. Turn a figment of your mind into creation.
Here it is, guys, the 1985 Pontiac Fiero Ferrari KitCar project. Let's go ahead, unmask it, and I'll kind of give you an idea of what we're gonna get up to today. We have the chassis mount wing, which I've welded in yesterday, the rear diffuser part, painted it all satin black, as well as I've kind of finalized and fit the rear diffuser that goes on both sides of the chassis mount wing. Got it all stiffened up, welded up, painted a nice satin black. So those parts are ready to get mounted onto the rear. As well, we have the rear grille here, so I'll have to clean that up. And before we can put the rear grille in, we have to, if I just peel this up here, and you see that nice Viper red paint, but behind the grille, we got some primer sections. So we're gonna have to wire up the taillights, make sure all of our turn signals, brake lights, everything work on that part. And then we're gonna go ahead, paint this rear panel satin black. Then we can install the taillights, the rear grille, diffuser, chassis mount wing, and that completes the back end of the car here. Then we'll come around to the front. So I just got the car all masked up because I don't want to get any overspray on it. We'll come in here, we'll tilt the front end forward, we'll install the headlights, make sure that they function and they all work. Once we have the headlights and the rear end all buttoned up, we're gonna go ahead and finally pull this car outside to see what this red looks like in the daylight for the first time. So make sure to stick around to the end, guys, because we're gonna be pulling this car outside and we can finally see what it looks like in the daylight. It's also pretty snowy out here, so that red is gonna pop on this white background. All right, so first things first, we're gonna mask off the rear end of the car so I don't get overspray on it. We're gonna paint the rear tail section satin black. Then we can install the taillights. Then we can install the rear grille. And then I can't wait to install the diffuser and the chassis mount wing. You guys are gonna dig that. Let's get after it. So we're gonna have to grab some of this masking paper, probably lift up the engine bay lid, prop it up, and then we'll mask this all off so we don't get any overspray. And I think I got some Rust-Oleum satin black is what we're gonna use. Yeah, we're gonna use this Rust-Oleum 2x paint and primer. This stuff here is great, but the finish on the satin black comes out real nice, as you can see on this panel here. We'll go ahead, we'll mask off the back end of the car, and we'll dust this rear panel satin black. So we got the rear panel all masked off so I don't get any overspray onto the fresh Viper red paint. We're gonna go ahead and grab our Rust-Oleum paint, just out of a normal spray can, put on a respirator. We're gonna start laying down, probably just 2 coats on this back panel. It's nothing crazy. I'm gonna be going around later on, probably in the springtime when I go to sell this car and list this car for sale. And we're gonna do kind of the rest of the engine bay in satin black. We're gonna kind of dress up the engine at that point too. But for now, I just wanna get everything buttoned onto the car, exterior wise, panel wise, and pull it out so I can put it into storage. So we can go ahead and pull the next project into the Mad Lab, which is a 1974 Plymouth Cuda. I'm extremely excited to start working on that car. It's been a dream car of mine. What we're doing with the Pontiac Fiero Ferrari KitCar is we're trying to finish it all specifically so we can sell it and get some money to invest in some other projects for the channel, like the Cuda and maybe a potential new Mad Lab. All right, so everything is masked off, scuffed down with just some Scotch-Brite pad. It's all been cleaned off. So let's go ahead and lay down our first coat of satin black. Got the extraction fans kicked on there to get all the paint fumes out of here. We're gonna let this dry up. We got 2 coats of the Rust-Oleum satin black paint on the rear panel. I got the rear grille all cleaned up. This has also been sprayed satin black, and it's got a nice industrial coating on it, so it's not gonna chip. This is all aluminum, this grille here. This grille actually matches the rear deck lid grille, which is underneath here. And then we got 2 other grills that cover up the intake and the battery tray side. So it's gonna look sick once they're all back in place. Well, I've just been going through the taillight wiring on this car. I never did the wiring on this car originally. This used to be a show car back in like the 1990s. I picked this car up about 4 years ago in BC, down near Vancouver, and I now live in Ontario. So I have yet to have a look at the wiring that they did to the car. And I've come across a couple of wiring gremlins. For instance, 2 bare wires here, no idea what they're going to. I have 2 light sockets here which had light bulbs in them and were completely electrical taped up. And what happened was, I guess these lights were working, and they just had them buried behind the bumper, and when the car was running and the lights were on, they heated up and blew up and kind of melted together. So I might just have to cut these wires and splice them together, because they're live wires, they were on and they heated up. So I'm gonna diagnose what these lights were for. These might have been old like license plate lights or old taillights from the Pontiac Fiero lights. I think the taillights that are in here now are Toyota Camry. But these are the wires that I have going to my taillight section, which I'll show you now. I think they're out of a Toyota Camry. So maybe you guys online can kind of tell me, but they look like Camry lights. And on the back side of these, they basically just have a light system which unclips, which is right here. So you can see all these different bulbs. I'm gonna have to make a trip to Princess Auto and pick up a bunch of new fresh bulbs for the taillights. But if you look at this clip here, they're all color coordinated and all those wires plug into the bottom there. Alrighty, so we are back from Princess Auto and we picked up a couple of things for the Fiero Ferrari kit car. Picked up some new light bulbs for the taillights and some bolts for the rear grille. Alrighty, so we're gonna go ahead and remove all these bulbs from the taillight housings. Some are the reverse lights, running lights, and brake lights. So we're gonna go ahead and remove all these bulbs. Some of them are still good, but for $2 for a pack of 2, might as well just replace them with brand new ones. These are probably like 20 years old. Who knows, maybe even older than that. Bada bing, bada boom. And just like that, we have brand new bulbs in all of our taillight housings. So let's go ahead, install them into the taillights, bolt them onto the car, and we'll check for turn signals, running lights, brake lights, and reverse lights. If that's all good, next step is installing the grille. Let's fire up the car, do a little cold start, and we're gonna check all the lights and make sure that they all work. If they don't, we'll have to mess around with the wiring a little bit, and then we can go ahead and slap the grille on. Alright, so unfortunately I broke a couple of clips on the old wiring that I don't have any more of those style clips here. So I'm gonna have to just go ahead and install the taillights. I'll remove them at a later date. I just want to get the grill, the chassis mount wing, and the rear diffuser on so you guys can check that out. So let's just keep moving along, mounting everything else up. Taillights are all in. It's time to install the rear grille. This is the iconic piece for the Ferrari Testarossa. So let's go ahead, chuck it in. Bam! Just like that, the rear grille's all installed. Looks perfect, nice and symmetrical. Went on without a hitch. I had to drill one extra hole just to make everything nice and secure, but she's on, she's looking mint. So we're ready for the next stage, which is going to be, no, I don't think we do the chassis wing first. I think what I have to put on first is this rear diffuser section, and then the chassis mount wing will slide in between that. If you guys are new to the channel, make sure to subscribe, number one. But if you want to know how I made any of this stuff, like this rear diffuser, I got a full video on how I mocked it up, how I made it, what materials I used. It's pretty easy to do, it's a DIY. This particular rear diffuser is made out of, I think it's 3/16 plate steel. So it's just mild steel, and I used my MIG welder to weld it all together. Yeah, it's heavy, or heavier than carbon fiber and whatnot, but I'm not building a race car, guys. This is just for show, this car here. It's all aesthetics. All show, a little go. And then the rest of the section of the rear diffuser is attached onto the chassis mount wing. And again, if you want to know how I made this chassis mount wing, this is also 1/4 inch plate steel. So I just took a grinder, bought some plate steel, traced out my pattern at a cardboard, cut the shapes out, and I mounted this really expensive carbon fiber wing to it. So there's a video on how to make a chassis mount wing, if you guys go back and want to see that as well. Enough talking, let's mount these things up and see how they look on the back of the Ferrari Fiero KitCar. So there's the first section of the rear diffuser, all bolted up. You can see it kind of just surrounds the exhaust on both sides. Looks pretty wicked so far. I might later on paint all of this here black. It was black before, but it doesn't look half bad being red. These brackets right here are where the chassis mount wing is gonna bolt onto. So let's go ahead, grab the chassis mount wing, and awkwardly try to do this by myself. Put it underneath there and bolt it up. Woo! Time for the chassis mount wing. This is gonna be a little tricky doing it by myself, but it should work out. Wiggle on, get those 2 bolts on first, and then I can finish off by getting the 6 bolts on the lower part in. See what happens. Well, I got a couple of stubborn little bolts, but thanks to my beautiful girlfriend, on Christmas she got me these awesome angled ratcheting wrenches, and this tool right here literally saved my life. Thanks, babe. As you can see, this bolt here, I tried to line it up with some screwdrivers, but it's like press fit. It's a really tight fit. Couldn't get a drill in here to drill it out to make the bolt go through easier, so I was able to get the threads started, and I can fit the wrench through here and get it on. Whoo-wee! Well, that was a mission, boys and girls. But we got the chassis mount wing, the rear diffuser, taillights, rear grille all installed. Let's have a look at this chassis mount wing. Dun, dun, dun. Big wing gang. Check that out. Sweet. All custom made, hand fabricated, all steel brackets, supports, the whole rear diffuser. Everything was hand built with some simple DIY tools that most people have in the garage. But check that out, guys. This is a carbon wing, by the way. If you don't think it is, there you go right there. Let's see if it can focus. So you can see the carbon fiber weave coming through there. So we made some great progress today. I'm gonna back the car up right now so that tomorrow morning I can wake up bright and early, finish the headlights, and then we can go ahead, pull the car outside, and give you guys a glimpse of what this thing looks like out in the sunlight. So cross your fingers for some sun tomorrow. It might be snowing. Either way, I'm gonna put the headlights in tomorrow morning, pull the car out of the shop, and give you guys a view of what it looks like. It is day number 2. We're gonna finish up by mounting the headlights onto the Fiero Ferrari kit car, and then we can go ahead, pull it outside. Should have high beams, low beams, so let's go ahead, tilt the front end forward, wire up and install the headlights, pull the car out of the shop, and see how this car looks in the sunlight. Bam! Tilt front end. I think that's super wicked looking on this car, especially when the engine cover is open as well. Super race car looking. But if we look inside here, you can see we got a full-size spare. We got all the tools in there. Got a little bit of overspray, but this is all gonna get resprayed satin black, as well as underneath the flip front end. I'm gonna mask this off all along here and respray all that satin black when we finish the engine bay. But we're looking at the headlights right now. So I tested my high beams, low beams last night. They do work, so that is good. So what I'll do is install the headlight buckets, which are over here. We'll just kind of clean them up and should be pretty straightforward. I don't know what these headlights are out of. Maybe like a GM product or something like that. I don't see, oh, here we go, Toyota. That's funny. So I got Toyota headlights and my Ferrari kit car. Pretty cool. Let's go ahead, wire these up, install them, shut the hood, pull the car outside. Headlights are all installed. Finally, it's time to open up the garage door and pull this car out for the first time in a long time. Woo! Yada-da-dee-da-da-da. So stoked, guys. I cannot wait to pull the kit car out of the shop and see what it looks like outside. Let's go ahead and put on the Canadian tuxedo because it's cold and there's snow on the ground, and we'll open up the garage door, see how this thing looks outside, see what the chassis mount wing, the diffuser looks like, see how the car runs even. I haven't had the car running in a long time, so see if it goes through gears and even wants to pull out of the shop. have to assess the situation here. It's pretty tight, but I think I can make it if I back up a little bit and then jackknife the front corner really hard. So, see what happens. Finally outside, guys. Let's do a little walk around and give you guys a tour how it looks out in the open, out in the wild. I am so pumped on that. Still gotta button up a lot of little things like the turn signals and whatnot. The canards turned out amazing. The red looks insane outside. The idle is dropped down, which is good. So the intake isn't howling like it used to. Back end looks absolutely monstrous. Comment below, what do you guys think of this chassis mount wing, rear diffuser? Looks insane. I am so freaking happy with that. Sounds good too. Let's give it a couple of reps. All that hard work paid off, guys. This was a big project. I still got a little small things to do on the car, but I think we're about ready to put this car into storage and pull the Plymouth Cuda into the shop next. I'm extremely excited to work on the Plymouth Cuda. If you guys haven't seen it yet, I'll give you guys a little bit of a glimpse. Picked up some new doors, tell you all about that later. But there it is, guys, 1974 Plymouth Barracuda Cuda. I'm gonna do an AAR tribute car on this project, and it's gonna turn out freaking amazing. The other one that's back there is a 1976 El Camino GMC Sprint. I was gonna do a Cuda front end conversion, which I did, but this car's for sale, so we might or might not keep that car. But yeah, I am stoked to start working on the Cuda. But there she is, outside looking clean. Leave a comment, guys. Do you like the way it looks? You happy with the red? You think I should have gone with like a purple or a crazier color? I got a bunch of trim that goes around here, some window trim that goes up here. Grill covers go on the battery tray side and the intake side. Love the chassis mount wing. I did forget to paint these end caps on the chassis mount wing, so we might go red with those. My girlfriend did like the white. I was also thinking doing an Italian flag on there, or cutting out a whole new shape out of carbon fiber, making it look a little bit more boxy to kind of match the car. I don't know. The wheels look amazing with the color and with the whole theme. This is a Koenig Specials replica. The Koenig Specials does have these same style wheels, so I just got to polish up the lips because I polished up these wheels probably like 2 or 3 years ago, so they're starting to fade already, but that looks freaking amazing. I got some radiators that go inside here, so I got to paint those up and remount those. Windshield wipers got to go on. Well guys, I hope you enjoyed today's video. We finally pulled the car outside, getting ready to throw it into storage. Make sure to leave a like, subscribe, and we'll catch you guys next time. Ciao, ciao.